What's up? I'm Odysseus, and this is Odyspeaks. And I'm talking to
Noah Geyer.
Now, we typically do ODG together, but today I have him on this channel today with us. Now, how have you been, brother? I haven't seen you for a little bit. What you been up to?
Yeah, it's been a long, 2 days, man.
Oh my goodness, so long. The torture, the pain.
Yeah. I've been pretty good, doing videos and stuff. I do video production. That's my thing. And I've been producing for ODG mainly. And so now I'm here and we're talking casually.
Yeah, totally casually.
Yeah.
I have some semi-serious questions for you.
Okay.
I want y'all to kind of look at this stuff too and put in the comments how you feel if you've got an answer for these. Some of them you might have, some you might not. So first questions first. How does what you enjoy, like watching TV shows, movies, games, how does what you like and enjoy watching reflect what you're feeling internally? Whether that's, emotionally or what you're expecting.
Like how what I'm watching affects my emotion, or
No,
how
more so like if you're watching something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, not every time, sometimes what you like to watch, what you're enjoying in that period, that week, that month, that year is a reflection of your internal feelings about yourself. It seems to be the case. So I'm wondering for you, how does that reflect? You're watching a lot of these. Maybe you are really feeling something.
what I tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question. It kind of depends on what mood I'm in sometimes, but what I mostly gravitate towards is fantasy or sci-fi. It
in
can
your
be
games or movies or in both?
Well, in the movies, it's like that. Well, yeah, same with games.
Yeah.
I tend to gravitate more so with fantasy. That's a lot of what I grew up on. Everything from playing The Legend of Zelda to watching Lord of the Rings as a kid. And then even sci-fi fantasy a little bit too. I remember the first Avatar coming out, and that absolutely blew me away. So I've always been fascinated by the fantastical. And I guess for me, as far as it relates to who I am or how I'm feeling, is more so that how I feel is more so of what's going on in my mind. I'm a very imaginative person. I get lost in my head, and it already feels like this weird fantastical mess or whatever. Like my dreams don't make any sense. They're not grounded in reality at all.
You mean daydreams, or you mean future dreams? You mean
daydreams and also dreams.
Lit.
All the time.
Give me an example of a dream that you were just like, this doesn't even make sense. 'Cause now I'm curious.
I've got one saved in the vault.
Okay.
Because I don't remember any of them, but this one I remember it doesn't really relate to fantasy movies or anything like that. It's completely random.
Okay.
I was in the small town, and the town was just one long highway with houses next to it. And it was dark out at night, and everyone's kind of panicking, running, screaming. I'm not sure why. I'm not scared, by the way. I'm just kind of observing and being like, what's happening? Huh? I look, and out in the distance, do you remember one of those Transformers movies? I think it was Revenge of the Fallen, where it's this one guy that sucks up the pyramid in Egypt.
Yeah, I do.
You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that.
That thing was in there, except it was all silver colored, and it was sucking up all of the houses in the town.
Did you see the Transformers movie and it followed you into your dream?
I had seen the Transformers movie previously, yes.
Okay.
So that probably took from my memory there.
It's really interesting when your dreams just grab something from the memories.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why am I seeing this right now?
Yeah.
I don't care.
But I figured, I should probably get to safety. And so, of course, logically, when there's a giant metal monster sucking up houses, you run into a house for shelter.
Yeah, that's
because that's what I end up doing. I walk into this building, kind of like a store on the outside, but on the inside, it's a completely empty big room with a bunch of people kind of packed in on the other side, kind of holding, huddling together, kind of all scared. And I'm compelled to run towards them. And I'm like, I gotta, I don't know. I felt like I had to be there too. And so I'm running towards them, and
just
all of a sudden,
you got to get there.
Don't worry, guys, I'm coming. And I trip. I fall inexplicably.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I fall down face first, And I look up, all the people are still there, just kind of like, ooh, all scared or whatever. I'm not feeling scared at this point still. And I look up like behind me. I'm like, oh, what the heck tripped me? Turns out there was a tripwire there. And right above me is the Joker, specifically from the cartoon. From the animated series specifically.
Well, that's a good Joker. So.
Well, actually, no, from the comics. Sorry, specifically
really?
From I think the New 52 comics. That specific Joker. I think that's what I'm thinking of. He's got more curly hair in this one.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And so the Joker's there, just smiling at me, which is weird. And then next thing I know, I'm falling, and I'm falling I'm very slowly falling in this gigantic red room full of holes at the bottom, and all of the holes have clown heads popping out of them.
Creepy as a mother chicken.
And I end up falling into one of the holes with the clown mouth open, probably, and then I fall into another smaller red room, and it's just completely empty, but it's just red. I don't know how there's light in there, but there is. And I'm falling face first again. I look back up, and then the Joker is still there smiling back at me, and that's all I remember.
Did you wake up and go, yeah, that made no freaking sense?
Yeah,
like, oh,
I didn't wake up like scared or in cold sweat or anything. I just remember that ending, and then the feeling after was like,
well, that was weird.
Whoa, somehow I never forgot that one.
I love that.
Every other one I forgot. But yeah, so very like, fantasy stuff where it's like things that are kind of taken from reality, but then put together in a way that is like very, not even hyper reality. It's just beyond that,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I like that. I like things that aren't so grounded in reality. Now, these days as an adult, I do like more grounded stories and stories that take place in just real life. I do appreciate those more, but nothing will quite beat fantasy for me.
That's fair. Do you feel so? I guess to answer the question, when it says how does what you enjoy watching reflect how you feel? There's so many types of fantasy, right? You've got grimdark, you've got more pulled back, a little more like modernized fantasy.
I've got my answer.
Okay.
I tend to gravitate towards dark fantasy.
And why is that?
I think it's that sort of complex and feeling that I get in real life where like life like kind of sucks. Waking up in the morning feels awful for some reason. You hear about bad things happening everywhere. You got to pay bills and stuff. And
it's those bills, man.
Life is in itself an uphill battle, and it can seem pretty grim, but in those stories with the those dark settings where the hero still prevails anyway, and is just is brave as hell, and be like, even though this sucks, like pushing through it, there's little things and connections with people that I have that are worth fighting for. That keeps me going.
Yeah.
And that to me kind of feels like real life as well. It's this whole life is this whole uphill battle,
upward, yeah.
But it's worth it because of the connections that you have and the little things that exist that's you're passionate about, that you care about.
Oh yeah.
And you keep fighting for that. And I see the light at the end of that dark tunnel.
So it's kind of nice to like pull back and be like, look, there's fantasy worlds where it's way worse than what I'm suffering from right now.
Yeah.
And then in watching them survive, that makes you go, man, I could survive.
Like, those really dark stories like Berserk or something like that, where it's like, how can you like read something like that? It's so dark and depressing and gory and violent and stuff like that. And like, you only really enjoy stuff like that because of the contrast that comes with it. There's that little light in that darkness that just makes it so much more precious.
Oh, I think you're right. It makes the tiniest moment.
Yeah, with the people that you share relationships with, or who you're fighting for, or just, I'm human. This is humanity, and I'm just gonna fight because that's just how we are, or something like that. We persevere. And it's just worth it. I don't know. I like that.
For me, I feel like I really enjoy the power fantasies and such.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I guess when we're talking about definition of power, it's kind of vague. My idea of it is to say that you want to change something in the world and then have the tools to do it. whether that's socially or financially, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So if you want to make the world better, so like shows or animes where it's a power fantasy, characters overpowered, and it's just boom boom. It's in a way a nice symbolization symbolization that you could say, you know what, I want to do better in the world, and you actually can. It's very enjoyable to watch that and be like, yeah. I want to do that at my job, or I'm going to do that with my friends.
I guess I like watching what I like to watch because for me, the having such like a difficult a journey or such an opposing like opposition is what makes it worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The more up, yeah.
Kind of like at this point where like, for like a game like Doom, I'd rather that be pretty hard and then, get through all of that.
You feel like
feel
you've earned it at the end.
Yeah. Kind of like Dark Souls. It's kind of, these games are balls to the walls hard. There's no difficulty slider. You can't change that. But when you beat that first boss finally,
like, I'm the man.
The euphoric feeling you get from it. Oh my goodness. And just you got through sheer skill and using the tools that were just given to you or what you could find,
Do you feel like any of your personality traits or you feel like any of those things are something you've developed or learned from the game, show, movie?
For sure. Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess basically like shaped my taste in like setting. So like that dark fantasy setting with a little bit of futuristic technology and that whole hero's journey thing.
Yeah. Did it shape how you like interact with people socially?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think what more so changed my interaction with people socially, for video games, it was party games like Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart. And basically like learning how to be a good sport, not tilt so hard. And I mean, I don't always succeed at that. Hard? Yeah. That's the term that people use when you.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those yeah, those are great. But
no. Oh no. I don't mean like tilts in Smash Bros. Okay. I mean like when you're tilting, it means like you know how you get like how you're doing bad in a game and you get so mad that you just do worse.
Yeah,
that's tilting.
I've never heard this terminology.
It's something that people use like at Twitch and whatnot, or whatever. It's a new thing. We refer to that as tilting.
Huh.
When
so you're saying your patience
when something is happening that kind of just incites anger with you, that just makes you perform that much worse.
Okay.
That's tilting.
I feel
or you can also use tilting as a descriptor for a game like, oh, this game is so tilting, like it's intentionally like there to make me mad or make me fail.
This game is so tilting. Why does that sound so gamer?
It is. That's why. It's a very gamer
thing. I've never heard this before. And I'm a gamer. I've never heard that.
Huh. But as far as like how I interact with the world around me,
have you learned anything? Like you see a character in a movie or show talk a certain way, and you go, "Yep, I'm gonna take that."
Probably for sure. I mean, there's so many for movies. There's so many examples.
Dude, charisma is relatively easy to learn from a show or a movie. You know why?
I disagree because I don't have it.
Well, the reason why I say it, it's weird because like movies, books, and stuff like learning how to write so I can do what we're doing over here. Oh my goodness! Like you're not really writing a real person. You're writing someone that is attractive for someone to find interesting, basically. And so if you learn charisma from that, you're kind of learning. Okay, well, I don't have to be. It's not that you don't have to be real. You're just learning it from an archetype that's purely that. A person isn't purely anything, We're kind of multidimensional. Yeah. But it might be a great place to learn charisma or social skills because it's so pure. This character is the fun, playful one. So to learn that from an archetype of something like that might be, I don't know, incredibly efficient. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of an amalgamation of all sorts of different things, and I think most of our development comes from just what we have in real life. Yeah. But it is, you can't deny that like the sort of media that we have consumed definitely is part of that. I can't really name any specifics at the moment, but it goes all the way back from the shows, the Saturday morning cartoons that I used to watch as a kid, all the way to like the big blockbusters I've seen, or like my first R-rated movie or whatever.
Like comedic timing. I'm sure I learned that from Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
comedic
yeah.
timing? Oh, yeah. I was freaking watching that a lot.
Some of the moments that I've laughed out loud the most were like at SpongeBob or Phineas and Ferb or something. Dude, I remember specifically there's this one scene where like I don't know which episode it is, but SpongeBob is like being all happy and whatnot. And he's passing Squidward by. Squidward's on his little like unicycle thing, and he's like, "Good morning, Squidward," and Squidward's like, "Don't say anything, Squidward. Remember your karma." And then immediately hits a rock, falls off a cliff, and blows up. And it was the funniest thing ever. And I don't know why, but just the way it happened and the timing at which it happened was so funny to me. I was laughing about it for like 10 minutes after.
Yeah, it definitely shapes you to some degree.
Yeah. Or like certain play on words relating to other things. I did watch some comedians growing up because my dad liked comedians, or he would play them on the radio for us sometimes, like on the way back home from a hockey practice and stuff like that.
Do you think socially it would be really good for people to practice, I guess, studying a comedian, finding the ones that are, most similar to them, and just doing that as a practice thing? As in, essentially, you watch a comedian, you go, okay, I'm kind of like this person in some degrees when it comes to what I find humorous. Because that's a big aspect of
I would do that if you
friend.
want to become a comedian.
The reason why I say not is because, like, for instance, if you're working a job, and depending on the type of job, a lot of jobs now push people to be, to learn, what's it called? What's the term I'm looking for? To learn acting's
social skills?
No. It's not acting. It's the improv.
Oh,
a lot of jobs would push
I'm bad at improv.
Right, but a lot of jobs will push people to do improv now.
Really?
It is like a common thing that a job will say, "Listen, I need you to take an improv class."
Well,
so I'm like,
I actually did that the other day.
No freaking way, really.
At my current job, we do training sometimes where like we get everybody together on one of our days off, but we get paid for it, of course.
Why can't we do that?
And we did like a couple of like, let's play out this scenario, and I played as a guest, and I thought of like, what
they would say
for the type. I won't go into what type of job I do. But basically, we'll have someone, whatever customer will come in. And the types of things that they normally say or ask about and stuff like that. And I kind of just played into that and threw little curveballs at my coworker to see how they would react.
But that's why improv is so important. And that's why acting is so important. Why speech is very important.
I guess that is part that goes into social skills as well.
Right. So I'm like, it actually would be really good maybe if you could find a comedian that you liked. And it's just, not everybody does this, but if you feel like it's something that you would benefit from, you'd get a comedian that you like, practice delivery, not necessarily doing what they do, but just being inspired by how they're delivering, and go, okay, that way everybody can learn their personal comedic timing. Because when you're looking at socially, like even for the work I do, often you meet people that are so socially awkward, and you're like, the amount of shows, movies, things you've watched, you could be so amazing.
Those are the type of people that do nothing but watch shows, but then don't talk to anybody else about it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like especially from my childhood, we would all reference SpongeBob all the time, or something, or something that we've watched or seen.
For
or whatever.
me, it's referencing Ben 10. Those were good times.
Yeah, and like that's part of the social thing there. You find a common connection that you have, or like, hey, this thing I'm talking about, it's pretty funny. Like that's definitely part of it. It can, what you watch can certainly help you like with some life skills, but it means nothing if you don't actually put it into practice.
You can't apply it.
Yeah, you have to apply it. Yeah, you got to apply what you learn or pick up from people.
This is slightly off topic, but not really. What's something about you that you wish people understood?
I've got a few.
Yeah, me too.
Something I wish people could understand about me a little bit more is that.
On a side note, look how freaking cute he is.
Oh yeah, we've got a cat on the side.
He's
On the side of the couch at the edge.
Adorbs right now, freaking hugging his feet and just chilling.
Curled up in a ball.
So cute. Continue. Sorry, that was imperative.
Ear twitching. I guess usually my difficulty with what I wish other people could understand and didn't have to try to explain is see, I have a hard time articulating things.
I know, it's okay. This is the point of this. Like, let's try to
it's
break it down and
definitely
figure it
it's
out.
definitely an ADHD thing for me. And this is fine. I'm always really open about it.
Okay.
That I
Word
will
it how you
have
wanna word
moments where I look like I'm doing nothing and just ignoring doing something I'm supposed to. When in reality,
There's a lot
in my head, I'm screaming at myself to do the thing, but I can't get myself to do the thing because of something called executive dysfunction. I'm not going to go into that into detail, but it's not laziness. It's a real thing that's basically kind of paralyzing me from actually doing something I need to. But then my brain is so like focused on getting something that's going to be the most gratifying, in dopamine levels. And important things typically aren't that. I don't get enough of it. And so in order to get it, I end up gravitating towards more something that is more stimulating to me, whether that's scrolling through Instagram or just pacing back and forth in a room talking to myself.
I get that.
And I waste like 2 whole hours of time just thinking about things, everything. I just think and have dialogue in my head. And the next thing I know, I should be in bed right now, and I haven't even eaten dinner.
So when it says executive dysfunction,
I've had other people see that and be like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you doing anything? You're just kind of sitting there doing this one thing. I'm like, I know, and I hate that I do that.
Is it just like, is it important tasks in general? Or things
Not
that you
always.
don't always
It
see?
depends on what it is, but it's getting started on something.
Because you said even eating. That's something that typically comes from a need. So you don't feel the need of hunger, or you're hungry. You just don't feel the act
I
of
do
doing
get
it.
to points where I'm hyper focused on one thing so much that I do forget to eat or drink. Yes.
Okay.
That can happen. Otherwise, I snack all the time. Sometimes I get hyper fixated on eating.
I can see that.
And then I do nothing but eat and watch videos. And then I'm like, oh no, I just ate more than I needed to. And now I feel weird, but I also didn't do this thing. And I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. It's not something that I usually watch. It's terrible.
So, how would you want someone to treat you to like not mess with that? To actually maybe
That's
soften
something
your
I'm
experience with that?
actively figuring out.
You're still learning about yourself.
Yeah, I am. And I'm obsessed with learning about myself. I want to understand myself so much that I can articulate it better. And so next time I'm dating someone, or if I move in with somebody, like I can better communicate with them. And so, yeah, because like in some situations, I do not want to be interrupted in my thought process at all. But in other situations, especially if someone needs my attention, the best way to get my attention or to make sure I hear something you say is not to just start talking to me. Don't do that. Instead, do a prompt like, hey, Noah, or psst, or tap my shoulder. Any of those things, any sort of like little thing to
Starter.
like
That way it's an introduction to,
make sure I have your attention first before you give me any information. Please. Because
so
I
true.
will not get the first half of what you say otherwise. And I'll be like, huh? I think you've experienced that. You've seen that.
Yeah.
You've seen
it.
it's happened.
Like we got a video that we're about to do, and when I explained it to you, you were just like, I was like, okay, so you didn't absorb
I know.
nothing.
And it sucks because sometimes that'll happen in the middle of dialogue where like something you say will trigger like a thought in my head. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think about it in my head of how that can work. But the next thing I know, you're 6 sentences later and I'm like, oh no.
I missed everything.
Yes. Yes, it happens a lot.
Now, I know for me, something that I would want people to understand, I think the idea of overthinking, I don't think that makes much. Okay, so like, this is something I've kind of figured out for myself, but like when someone says, oh, don't overthink, or you're overthinking, or you're an overthinker, I was like, why do I not like that? And it's because really I think a lot, but it's not that I'm overthinking, because overthinking requires you to even feel maybe personally that there is a limit to how much you need to be thinking. And then if you do past that, you're overthinking. So the over has a negative connotation. Basically, you're overthinking as in there's a negative aspect to it. Maybe to overthink, you need to, let's talk about something very concrete. Playing a game on the Switch, right? I'm like, yeah, this is a fun game right here. And then to beat the boss, I'm overthinking it, meaning I'm thinking too much about how to do it, and now I'm getting a negative feeling out of it. So if you see that I have a negative feeling, you would be like, oh, dude, you're overthinking it. Don't worry about it. Don't stress it, right? But if I just think a lot and I have zero negative feeling or stimuli, if the stimuli is not giving me a negative emotion out of it, then I'm not overthinking. I'm just thinking a lot.
Yeah, you do think a lot. You're definitely an analyzer. That's a strength that you have. Overthinking is more so, basically it comes to the point where it's irrational, where you're thinking of things that probably that reasonably wouldn't even happen.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Or like thinking of two contrasting ideas, like, oh, if I wear this color, then that'll look nice with that. But oh no, but I should do the other one because it's like this. But oh no, I should. And then like, will anybody hate me if I wear this color or whatever? And like, oh my gosh, am I gonna like freaking die tomorrow because I wore white instead of blue?
It's
like
the spiral is required.
Yeah, it's spiraling. That's overthinking.
Yeah,
it's not overthinking of like, okay. If you're just analyzing all of the reasonable possibilities that could happen and how you can be prepared for them.
Michaela and
there's a threshold there.
We had this conversation. We had this conversation about being an analyzer, and I think we ended up looking up the definition of it. Yeah. Because if I remember correctly, there was a time I hated being called that because I was like, I'm not an analyzer.
Because it has the word anal in it. Sorry.
No, it's more so like, I don't know if it's okay. So, what is the definition of analyzing to you?
Analyzing to me is more so like assessing what's in front of you and kind of like
because I thought of analyzation like a stat thing, but I guess it's not. But it's like I think of stats. I think of not penny pinching, but like that term, penny pinching numbers, just okay, this is stat is this, and there's this amount of people. Oh. That's how my mind immediately goes to it when someone says, oh, that's an analyzer, something like that. But for me, I just want to understand, like for real. So it's just, I look deeper into it. Oh. So I guess it is analyzing, but my mind goes, no, I'm just looking deeper into the thing. And and that's where I naturally go. So I don't have to analyze. It's just my natural thought process is to look deeper. So yeah, does that make sense?
I think it does make sense. I actually think it does make more sense with how you said it, where you have more so, it's not so much you're analyzing, you just have a desire to understand.
Yeah. And so
that sounds nicer, at least.
Maybe. So, I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
What's a fictional world that you could live in? Where you go, man, I could live there.
Oh, you know what?
Because often the better fictional worlds have consequences.
Yeah.
Like stuff that happens means something because this other thing happens. So some of the best worlds
a few that comes
probably
to
you don't want to live in.
There's a few that comes to mind.
Where you want to live in?
Do I have to give just one answer?
You'll give as many as you want. Would you live in
Shire?
Where's that at?
Although I'd have to be small.
Skyrim?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Okay. So yeah.
I'm not thinking it's not video games. That one, or maybe on Pandora, although that would require me to turn into an Avi, but that's a whole other thing.
You'd be a great blue person. I like you.
Yeah.
You'd be a great blue person.
I would thrive on that.
I would enjoy
they say that back in the days where people often had to hunt for food, those who might have had ADHD would be the better hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
So I would do great.
However, I'm going to do some pushback because I don't want to say this, but I feel like if you're over-focusing on something and a tiger comes, you're going to be like, ooh, this is great. Enough. And then the tiger comes get you, boom.
Maybe I'd forget my surroundings if I'm honed in on my,
you're so focused.
Target.
You're grabbing this berry and that next berry. You're stabbing that one fish and then that lion gets you from the back. Like,
fair enough. Fair enough. Stardew Valley would be great.
Where's that at?
It's a game. Stardew
the
Valley
ones
is a
you're
video
naming,
game.
I
It's
don't
a
even know.
farming game, and it's really nice. And you can make like things that automatically water your plants and gather stuff.
Would
and
you
make it
live in
super
Celeste?
easy.
The world of Celeste?
No, that would suck. No, I wouldn't live anywhere where I'd have to do platforming to get anywhere.
You would
That'd be
die.
so. I
You'd
would
be so
actually
fit.
die.
Would you be so fit?
Slime Rancher,
No.
easy money.
No.
You just make money selling plorts. You just find the chains and stuff. You get to explore, but you also like have, a shelter that you live in, and you're actively making money, and you're the only one there, so you're not competing with anybody.
Assassin's
You
Creed,
are providing an
Odyssey.
exclusive product, which is going to make you filthy rich.
That could. But I feel like it'd be kind of depressing when you look out and you go,
You
wow,
would be pretty
you
lonely.
get stuck. But dude, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
But I have slimes
you're
to
literally
keep.
just in Greece.
Yeah.
Like, it's real life history.
Yeah, any game that has a real setting would probably work, yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to do Greece because that man, that's going back too far. Where's my toilets? I need my toilets.
Is there a
What about
Is there a video game that takes place in Pompeii?
Yeah, that would be crazy. How come that doesn't exist?
That wouldn't really work as a video game.
Yeah, it would.
Well,
You
you
saw
could.
Loki? You saw Loki?
The show?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Here's the thing. I kind of checked out after Endgame
Fair.
because at that point, to me, it felt like the whole
They
thing was
want the
finalized.
Pompeii though.
They did?
They did.
Oh, cool.
did.
I do need to watch. People say that show is good. Maybe I'll give it a try.
It's mostly good.
I can't with Marvel content lately. But
What about
back on topic with
The Purge?
where would you live? I would not.
No, it's just one day you have to survive.
No,
Let's move on to
I don't want to be feared of being killed for no reason at
Okay,
all.
fine. Let's move on to the other one. What's the worst fictional world to live in? Because that's easier to decide.
Oh, jeez. Returnal?
That is freaking horrible. I'm not trying to die and die.
Every time you die, you just go back to where you
Restart.
started and it never ends.
Not the
Eternal
day.
suffering.
Doom, dude.
I was just thinking Doom.
That would be freaking horrible.
It would be.
That would no.
I'm not Doom guy. I would not last.
We're gonna have to do a follow-up video where we like re-explore these questions, these particular
Yeah.
ones, because man,
Oh man.
Spider-Man 2, dude.
Yeah, that would be terrible because of the supervillains that are constantly like killing people and destroying
okay,
things.
if you're the protagonist,
If
it's very
superheroes
different.
did exist in real life and supervillains as well, that would suck. That would really suck. You
Yeah.
get your property destroyed for no reason, and what
Dude,
is the
you're
hero going to do? Pay for
You're
it?
literally chilling in your house, and then someone just brushes in.
Yeah.
Freaking fights.
And then the Hulk comes in and uses your car as a bat.
and you're just like, thanks, man.
Bro, come on.
I gotta buy another car.
I know we're being currently
Dude.
invaded, but
How many
that
of
was
these
my car.
of these civilians got depressed, start drinking after like a
Yeah.
superhero took their stuff?
And then
broke it
after
up.
the blip happened, like that had to be so depressing, dude.
Mm-hmm. I would be depressed. Come back and,
And
you're
then
like,
they
"Oh, I
came back, and then it's like, oh, we didn't expect that.
can't- Sorry, I'm married.
Yeah. Or sorry, you gotta finish your last year of college still, even though you're like older than everyone now, or you're younger than people who you shouldn't be younger than.
I will tell you right now. I feel like we're gonna definitely do a follow up, and
Yeah.
we're gonna directly compare worlds, and just see like we're gonna get like our top ones, and we're gonna line them up and be like this
Yeah.
one versus that. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a lot. Oh dude, I just lost it. I thought of Lord of the Rings. There are some areas there that you wouldn't want to be in, but
There's a
then there's
bunch.
just some really nice areas too. It kind of has both.
I
It
mean,
has some of the best and worst
the
locations.
best worlds have both.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to know which one to do.
Very interesting.
But anyhow, thank y'all so much for showing up. We're gonna do a lot more Odyspeaks content coming soon.
Yeah.
All right, it's coming. It's coming. It's gonna be exciting because we're finally getting both studios gonna be separate. So be excited. We're gonna do some really fun things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In any case, hit up the comment section. See if you have any similarities with anybody else that might have also felt the same answers to these questions. But we will see you later. Peace.
Peace.